My name is Jonathan Bean. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of My News Desk. I've had 15 years experience of both succeeding and failing with PR. In this module, we're going to talk to you about how to measure your PR effectively. Measuring the impact of your PR is not a one-size-fits-all activity. It takes some experimentation to get it right. In this module, we'll delve into the basics of measuring effectiveness as well as the pitfalls that sometimes trap newcomers to the field. You may be familiar with the AMEC model. It's a framework published by the International Association of Measurement and Evaluation of Communication, and it documents the major stages of communications and the metrics associated with different actions. For example, if your communications team is launching a blog to attract key talent to the company, you would document inputs, your objectives, budget and resources available. Activities, an inventory of all those discrete activities required to make it happen, from writing, editing, design to the social media know-how required to distribute those stories. Think of this as your planning document for what lies ahead. Outputs. This includes quantitative and qualitative measures across paid, earned, shared and owned media. Outtakes. Once released, how will your assets be further distributed by your audience and what will they take from it? Outcomes. What effect will your communications and content have on your audience? Impact. What effect will all those activities have on your reputation, public image and relationships? The framework also points to suggested metrics to use for each step in the process. For your metrics, you may choose based on particular objectives, type and scope of the project you choose. The Stroke Association is the UK's biggest stroke charity, and it aims to prevent strokes as well as improve the quality of life for patients by supporting services, education and research. Each year, it ramps up its activities during its Action on Stroke Month campaign. Their key objectives were to raise awareness about the association, recruit volunteers, educate about stroke and mini-stroke, and get people in contact with the association. While the Awareness Month always hopes to educate the public as a whole, the association also wanted to target business leaders, people affected by the condition, donors and minority groups affected by stroke. Their strategy was to heighten awareness of mini-stroke, a precursor of stroke that, if caught early, can prevent a more serious stroke. Their activities included mainstream and social media engagement with a particular focus on minority outreach, as well as the use of celebrities to amplify the message. Measuring the Stroke Association's success was done based on 4 key areas as mentioned before, these being output, outtakes, outcome and impact. What are my key PR objectives? Are you most focused on building awareness, raising engagement, making customers, repeat customers, or creating a network of brand advocates? Is lead generation your paramount goal, or is awareness just as crucial? Or do you have multiple aims you're trying to accomplish at once? Understanding your objectives will drive what metrics you choose to follow. What metrics matter? Below are the ideas of metrics to consider. Ultimately, however, there is no rule book. Look at 10 organisations and you'll likely find they measure in 10 different ways. Here is a starting point. Look at exposure, engagement, influence, impact and advocacy. Exposure could be impressions, website traffic, time on page, followers, mentions. Engagement could be newsroom followers, alert subscribers, email opens, click-through rates, social media engagement, likes, comments, shares. Influence could be media reach, top stories. Impact could be reputation, visits or calls, gated content, downloads, conversions. Advocacy could be earned media mentions, recommendations, reviews. Simply creating a dashboard and looking at the numbers week after week isn't enough. You'll also want to interrogate the data. Why did more traffic come from Facebook this month? Which promotional channels are most effective? Did the new headline writing tactics pay dividends? Why is email deliverability down? It's crucial to have an inquisitive outlook to ensure your studies aren't always backward-facing, but rather looking at what happened in the past will affect future performance. More is not always better. Are 500 followers outside your target market more valuable than 50 who fit your customer profile perfectly? Of course not. Don't get fooled into complacency by vanity metrics. Those are metrics that can be superficial and easy to achieve. For example, like versus metrics that are tougher to react on, much more valuable. For example, an email subscriber. We're not saying you shouldn't look at things like likes, but always dig deeper and test its relevance. Pure and simple, investigation. Take your tally of your competitors' accomplishments, look at what your previous campaigns have garnered, then look at industry benchmarks. You'll find online tools such as Rival IQ that can help sort out reasonable benchmark milestones. You may want to know how often you should be measuring and optimizing your content's performance. The answer? Every day. The very best people to manage your content and social analytics are people who we describe as restless. As Andy Cresadina, social media expert, says in his book Content Chemistry, there's no formula to finding the right way to optimize. It isn't just about one thing, it's about 100 little things. Persistence is the biggest factor in success. Why so much tweaking? Drawing in an audience means testing keywords, testing headlines, working with influencers, sorting out channels, and choosing imagery, to name just a few factors. And the only way to learn how to is to begin and to experiment. While it's up to you to constantly test and interrogate the data, there are plenty of tools to help you along the way. Tools like Google Analytics, Adobe Analytics, BuzzSumo, Social Bro, and Ever Native Platform Analytics all offer insights into what's driving your successes and what you can do to improve less popular content. Don't forget to keep an eye on media monitoring, traditional, digital and social, all included in My News Desk Listen. While measurement is typically backward-facing, optimization takes the view that a change in behavior can affect future results in a positive way. If you've undertaken a campaign, it's critical to not only measure its performance, but also think about how you'll optimize in the future to achieve even better results. How well did each channel perform? Did a specific influencers boost your performance? What worked particularly well? Interrogate the data to figure out not just what happened, but why. While you may sometimes hear SEO is dead, we can tell you that it certainly is not. It's just a different practice than it was even a few years ago. Before, you could stuff in a certain number of keywords and meta tags into an article and the Google gods would send people to your doorstep. You can't game the system anymore, but you can increase the odds of the right people discovering your content with some SEO basics. Among the things that affect your search engine's ranking are: number one, do you publish great content as evidenced by the amount of follows, sharing, comments and other types of engagement your content gets? Search engines judge the quality of your stories by how others react to it and engage with it. Number two, is your content visually attractive and easy to digest? Does it offer a good user experience? Search engines can discern this based on how others interact with your content. Number three, are you an authoritative and credible content creator about topics your audience craves, as evidenced by keyword rankings? We could write an entire chapter on keyword research alone. To sum it up in a simplistic way, you need to keep your eye on what keywords have the highest value for your business and rank as an authority for those words. It's a complex science, but with some reading and some research, you'll get the hang of it. Number four, lots of smaller decisions also help boost your SEO score, such as headline optimization, meta description tags, and even paid search. Unfortunately, a short module such as this one can't offer the type of study about SEO you or someone on your team should undertake. Just note that the best way to learn is to publish content and experiment with different tactics to optimize that content. Commit to continuous learning and seeking out online resources to bolster your expertise. Number 1, before anything, know your objectives. What's the aim of your storytelling efforts? Are you trying to build awareness, build new relationships, bolster your company's reputation or public image, promote a particular event? With clear objectives, you're more likely to measure the correct things. Number 2, next it's crucial to list your objectives, activities you undertake to pursue those objectives, and the metrics that will give or show you how effective your program is. Number 3, there's no formula for choosing the right metrics. They will be driven by your company's objectives for PR and communications and the business needs you're trying to satisfy. And remember, the things like impressions and page views are important for newcomers, whilst the development of a key influencer relationship, a piece of major or niche media coverage, or the downloading of an asset or subscribing to a piece of content is the mark of a more invested member of your growing audience. Number 4, measurement is not a one-off undertaking. It's a case of perpetual tracking, optimizing, and retesting. The same is true for SEO. What works one month may change in the weeks or months ahead. The best communicators are restless, always searching for better ways to reach their desired audience and meet company objectives.